All right. Hello,
Okay.
everybody. I am so pleased to introduce Natalie today. She's going to talk about her new book, Mark the Dragon Who Loves to Stretch. I am so pleased to introduce Natalie through our Global Shiatsu virtual gathering. Today is number 16. It's already December 3rd, 2022. And let's put the both hands together and let's meditate and chant and send in a good energy to everybody who may be suffering because of the pandemic, because of isolation. So hopefully today's presentation will bring the people's energy up and happy. Yeah. ナムシンニョ一如と尊き御仏を念じ立て祭る残儀残下六根最初滅上本の滅上言書オンサラバタタギャタ花々のキャロミ and let's reflect our yin yang energy. Are we balanced? Are we still struggling to balance? Let's feel our yin and the yang and let's connect and make a more freely move like our kids. So Natalie will talk about her new book. And here, take away, Natalie.
I
Hey.
think I'm really sorry, Kamiko. I think that I didn't really hear that question there. Did you ask me a question and just the connection's not great?
Oh, just go, take away. Please talk about your book and please
Okay.
introduce yourself.
Okay, so great. I'm Natalie Ventilla and I wrote the book Mac the Dragon Who Loves to Stretch. And this is it here. And I'm really excited to be presenting it to you. It's something that I'm really proud of that took me quite a while to bring together. And now that it's here and out into the world, I'm really quite excited about it. So Mac the Dragon, Mac kind of being short for Makaho, is all about a dragon who kind of wakes up feeling stiff and a bit grumpy, and goes through his day, goes through all of the kind of elements, the 5 elements, and the Makaho stretches, and throughout the day becomes happier, more grounded, and just a better version of himself. So the idea of this came from my own experiences with Makaho and my children as well. So I started studying Shiatsu in 2016, and I have 3 kids. And at the time, one of my children was really young. He was like 2 or something like that. And anytime that I was doing the Makaho stretches in the house, he just loved to get involved and like stretch his body and move into the shapes with me. So yeah, I just found it really inspiring to watch this little person and think that it was just so natural for him to get into these postures where, once we're kind of a wee bit older in life, some of these postures can be quite challenging for us. So yeah, of course, that was the kind of inspiration as well, behind making the stretches in the first place and creating these stretches and putting them together. That you can increase your longevity, your flexibility by stretching these meridians every day. So I thought it would be a really great idea to bring it to the children at as young an age as possible, so that they have an opportunity to already be doing it from a young age. So it's not a case that they get to like me, their later 20s or 30s, and at that point of their life, they are maybe already feeling the kind of stressful effects of life and the body's kind of stiffening up through whatever things that they've been through in their life, to already have this as a kind of tool for resilience that they've embodied in themselves and learned from an age, a really young age, for me felt like a really special thing to offer to children. So off of the back of that, I wrote the story, also incorporating in it like a dragon, Mac, who is inspired by my children's love of dragons and dinosaurs, particularly at that age where they were just fascinated by monsters and anything a little bit scary. So to make create a character of a dragon, also, of course, given a nod to Eastern culture there as well, just felt like the right way to bring it to children and bring it to a young audience and to make it about this mystical creature. So Mac and his friend Mary are the kind of vessel through which I would go into nursery schools or community groups, or even with my own children, of course, as well, to tell a story that will capture the imagination of the children right away, but also at the same time, we are doing these stretches together as well. So we're kind of doing two things at once, which is also very helpful for children who have like short attention spans, some more than others, of course. I thought it was really important to have at this age also, not just a story where you sit down and you're taught something and it's very intellectual, but something that you can, a story where you can move throughout the story, use some of the energy in your body as well as in your mind to really help the practice almost kind of seal in. So I kind of created this the story based on the elements. So Mac begins the story in the metal element and the metal posture, as we do when we're practicing Makoho ourselves. So this is Mac flying down the mountain, and of course that movement is similar to the lung and large intestine movement, where we're taking a nice deep breath and folding forward with the breath. So the children really, while they're doing Makoho, they're making the movements that I kind of envisage Mac to have been making at that part of the story. In the earth posture, I actually did an adaptation of the earth posture, which is something that my teacher, Elaine Liechty at the Glasgow School of Shiatsu, taught us as an alternative to the more traditional stretch where you're lying flat on the ground and it's quite an intense back bend for some people. We were offered this alternative where you can stretch stomach and spleen by standing up and doing a more simple posture. So I put that one in the book because it seemed like a more accessible one for young children. And of course, they do have the option of doing this one as well if they want to do that one or progress to that. Children really can generally get into that posture very easily. And what I find is that they're so desperate to show you how good they are at getting into the postures that they will often go for the more advanced one. So anyway, this is how it goes through the story. Mac going through the motions of the elements here. So he's in the fire element. And again, we're teaching a child the posture. And the story continues like that, with the aim being that by the time we get to the end of the story, he's done all of his Makoho stretches and he's heading off happier and more grounded with his friend into the sunset. So what I also felt was important for the book, therefore, is a part of the book that describes to the children and the parents, caregivers, teachers, whoever it is that's doing the exercise with the children, is a kind of full and safe way of taking part in the stretches. So this is the instructions for the wood stretch. which I've kind of broken down step by step with a cute little character for children and their parents and caregivers too. And what I felt was important in terms of really empowering children is not just giving them these activities and saying, okay, this is this beautiful routine that you can do to feel good, but also empowering them with the knowledge of why it is that they might do these postures, or what situation they might want to get into the wood stretch and stretch out the liver and gallbladder meridians. And practitioners will know that this wood stretch, for example, is particularly good for us if we're really looking to feel more flexible, more creative, to know where we're going, to visualize where we're going and things of that ilk, or perhaps even when we've got a headache or a migraine or something that feels quite woody. So I also include that into the book, just a little snippet of theory to show children and their adults why we do this posture. So also it can be done singularly as well. As I said there, as Shiatsu practitioners, we might give our clients or people we know advice on how they can stretch their meridians. If there's a bladder diagnosis, go home and do this posture for a few days, for a few weeks, and hopefully that's going to help the bladder and kidney energy flow and be more healthy. And in that same way, we can give that knowledge to children, that perhaps if you're feeling afraid, or you're needing a bit of courage, you can go into this posture, or indeed also use the acupressure points that come along with it, which is also in the book. So I didn't want to overwhelm people with too much information, and hopefully I'm not doing that right now. So I just put some of the most commonly used acupressure points that you would imagine to use for children, kidney 1, liver 3, large intestine 4. These more accessible points that I realize are all on the hands and feet, actually, now that I look at it, I haven't really thought about it before. But ones that for when I was working with children in a nursery, they really liked the Heart Protector 8 point, because one, is just on their hands, it's very accessible, but also to explain to a child that you can press this one, when you may be feeling like you're going into a room and there's lots of people there and you don't know them, which often does happen to children. And I think that as adults, we sometimes might disconnect from how anxious children might be about these types of situations and forget that they also have these little nervous systems that are navigating everything around them, from a kind of what's going on point of view at times, just the way that we do. So to give these little kids, a way, a kind of like, okay, press on that point. No one can see you doing that. When you're going into a room and you don't know everybody, or when you need to come into your body a little bit, obviously not using the coming into your body a little bit phrase, because I think children will be a little bit confused by that. But yeah, so that's kind of what the book, that's the contents of the book anyway. And my kind of hope for the book is that Shiatsu practitioners, other Shiatsu practitioners, yoga practitioners, anyone really that's working with mindful movement and helping children to feel more embodied and more calm, might be able to take the book and everything that I've kind of compiled into it from my experience of working with children, and do it themselves in a, even carry out a little workshop with children in the same way that I did, or use it for their own children. Because I did I was very careful to make sure that it's written in such a way that you don't have to have been trained in Shiatsu to fully understand what's going on in the book. It's really quite clear and quite basic on a lot of the theory, of course. So one of the main features of the book, and something that I find the most exciting part of the book, is the reflective worksheets that I made and put them in the middle of the book, so that children and indeed their adults, and I say it the adults because a lot of the time the feedback that I've had on the book has been from adults saying that, yeah, my children enjoy it, but actually I'm getting a lot from it myself, because this is like a kind of very basic and accessible introduction to Shiatsu in a lot of ways for people. These reflective worksheets, hopefully they can be seen here, are a way of getting children to assess their own energy and their own mood and their own emotions, really noticing, which, you know, such a valuable thing for children to be doing at as young an age as possible, is actually, you know, sitting with themselves for a second and thinking, okay, how do I feel right now? And then doing it in a kind of language or in a way that children can understand. So my interpretation of when you stretch, when you do the Makaho exercises, or when you do yoga, is that if the energy flow can feel a little bit tingly, you just feel this kind of almost like a little buzzing sensation through your body when you've allowed the energy to move and move more freely through the meridians. So to bring that to children, I thought about saying sparkly, like something tingly. So what I would say is, how sparkly do you feel right now? And the children would say, you know, they would fill it out on this place here. So out of 5, how sparkly are you? 5 being like super sparkly, feeling awesome. 1 being more of a not so great today. And there's also, if children don't fully relate to that, there's also these little emojis where you can just circle, you know, which one of these is most like you before you start doing these postures and reading this story. And also the word sparkly is what is used throughout the book with Mac, you know, how sparkly he is beginning to feel. So yeah, in this way, we're teaching children and empowering children with a reflective intelligence that they can hopefully go on to use throughout their life. You know, how powerful would it be to know from the age of 4, 5, or 6 how your energy is feeling, and knowing that there's something that you can do yourself, completely by yourself, that can make you feel better, make you feel happier and calmer. And I feel like this is what these exercises can do for kids. So in doing this, we get the children to assess how they feel before the exercises, and then after they've done the Makaho stretches, they come back to it and, okay, I'm feeling better. 10 out of 10 times they're feeling better. And they notice that they're feeling a bit better, or they're feeling whatever it is that they're feeling, however they decide to tell you. It will usually be that, you know, maybe they feel a bit lighter, or they feel happier, they feel brighter. And I have actually had children use words like that to describe how they feel after doing the stretches. Obviously, for more advanced older children, you can be talking about, for example, which shape do you like the most? What did you like the most today? Was it the wood stretch? Like, let's look at that. What's the wood stretch about? Did that feel good for you? So your energy is flowing well in terms of the liver and gallbladder. Or you can say which one didn't feel so good for you. And I think that's yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one for them to go and look at. Oh, I wonder if it's because I'm feeling like this. And obviously that's for children that are a little bit older, or indeed their parents or caregivers as well, who often are like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't realize that doing a stretch posture had such implications, had such depth in terms of the meridians and the physical, mental and emotional attributes that each of them have. So that is the book. That's what it's all about. I think it's a really helpful tool, and so far I've had a lot of really nice feedback on it. I wondered if it might be a nice idea for us, the people that are present just now, to maybe do one of the postures. And if you have a pen and paper, we could get you to write how sparkly you feel today, maybe draw how sparkly you feel today, and we can go into one of the postures or maybe two of the postures, and then assess how we're feeling at the end of that in the same way that we would do with the children. So I will lead you into that. I'm just thinking we could maybe do the I'm thinking just off the top of my head to do the fire posture, and I'll read a little bit from the book as well before we go into it, so that I'll give a little bit of an example of what the book sounds like. So from this page here, when Mac is in the cave, he's in a cave and he has a little fire by him. So, okay. So where the blossoms grow, there's a quieter spot to reflect on his feelings. This helps him a lot. How am I today? He likes to inquire. He takes in the deep breath and puffs out a small fire. So this is the movement that we do with children in terms of the puffing out a small fire. So for the fire posture, primary fire, we're coming onto our bottoms and just really feeling and making sure that we are, both sitting bones are feeling quite comfy and grounded. Woo, almost lost you. Typing up. And we are going to bring our legs out in front of us. So like so, and bringing our feet together, our soles of our feet together out in front of us. So I'm not sitting flat on the ground because I've got a bit of a sore back. I'm sitting on a bolster. And if anyone else feels like they need to sit on something, maybe a block or, you know, something that's just going to elevate you a little, then please go ahead and do that. So we're bringing the soles of our feet together. And we're going to begin by bringing our hands, taking a deep breath, and bringing our hands into a prayer position in front of our chest. And breathing out. Breathing in, and we're going to put our hands around the top of our feet. So we're still sitting in this nice position where you can get children to like have a little wobble around. Some like to do this. Maybe you can move your knees like a butterfly. Children love to do that. And we're just going to take in a nice deep breath. And when you're ready, just begin to come forward on the exhalation towards your feet, keeping the chest nice and open. Feeling a good and nice stretch, but never too far, never to a point where you're feeling uncomfortable. And just taking 3 nice, slow and long breaths. Coming up. And an inhalation, back up to sit. So from this one, because we're sitting on the ground, we'll go in straight into the bladder posture. So I'll read a little bit from the book as well about the movement from the bladder posture. Okay, so it's too cold. Okay, I'll start here. So we're on this page here, and this is Mac, and this is Mary, and she's in the water, and she actually needs rescued at this point. So down by the stream and the deep rushing river, he dips his toes in the water, then back out with a shiver. It's too cold for a swim, so I'll sit by the shore, making plops with big rocks and then making some more. It rolls and it roars, but where does it go? He stretches his wings high, then down to his toes. So this is the movement that we're teaching children, the movement like water. So we're sitting again flat on the earth. I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to just bring our legs straight out in front of us. So we're sitting kind of like in an L shape, knowing that the bladder meridian is coming right down the spine and the glutes and down the back of the legs to the pinky toe. So the movement for children is that he's stretching his wings high. So breathing in, stretching the wings high. And breathing out down to his toes. So we're not stretching too far. And like water, he looks forward, always keeps going. No longer stiff, but calmer and flowing. So here we're just asking children to look forward, look through your hands, take 3 nice deep breaths in this posture. And coming back up nice and slowly. Before just letting our hands kind of trickle down like water by the sides of our heads. So when we're reading the story to children, we are basically just embodying these postures as we go and as Mac makes his way through the story. Until we come to the end. And I won't go into all of the postures with you guys, but we come to the end and then we ask the children if they feel a little bit different and if they notice any different sensations in their body. And if they do, to make a note of it. So if anybody who was with me from the beginning wrote down how sparkly they were feeling before they did the postures, then I would invite you to notice if there's any changes in your body after doing a couple of the Makaho postures. And hopefully you'll have noticed that you feel a bit calmer and maybe a little bit sparkly, as Mac and Mary did too. Does anyone have any questions for me or want to add to the discussion just now?
Oh, I feel so much better doing the Makaho with you. Thank you.
It's wonderful. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do all of them. I didn't want to take too much of you guys' time and like do the whole thing, but hopefully you got a little snapshot of what it's all about there.
I don't have a question, but I just want to say, can you hear me? Can you understand?
Yeah,
me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's very important the effort that you put to help the children pay attention to their emotions, their way of being, because self-perception is something that should be taught in school. I don't know, maybe somewhere else is taught, but in Italy not for sure. and recognizing emotion is it's very important. That's what is going to make the people of the future the better the better one. That's what I think. So cool, very cool.
Thank you. Thanks so much for that. I'm glad that you think so. I agree wholeheartedly. When I came to learn in Shiatsu, I don't know about you guys who are here on the chat, but when I came to learn in Shiatsu, I just feel like it opened up a kind of a new world for me in terms of being more aware and more present of my own body and my own emotions and my own habits that I might have picked up that aren't maybe so good, or also the ones that are good. But I think that if we're bringing this to children at a young age, encouraging children as well to talk about emotions and attach, energy to emotions or how they're feeling to different scenarios and situations, and also give them something. It's really difficult, I think, even as an adult at times, to regulate how you feel and regulate your emotions yourself. And so to think about a child that, sometimes we might be like, right, stop it, don't behave like that, that's not acceptable, without realizing that we're not giving children the tools. Like you say, the schools in Italy, it's the same here, we're not actually encouraging this kind of thing. So I really hope that, the nurseries I've worked with have definitely found it really helpful. The staff found it really helpful to do these stretches. My vision was that maybe children could do it every single day when they arrive in school, or indeed when they finish their lunch break, and there's still kind of like energies up here or wherever, still in the playground or whatever. And just bringing them into a space that's more conducive to listen to the teacher or to learn, because we are expecting little people to sit in a classroom for so many hours a day when it's kind of goes against how fast their key's moving. It's hard for them. So yeah, I think that hopefully people will be inspired by the book to take it further to more children. Thank you.
I just want to thank you for this presentation. I'm looking forward to bringing it to parents so they can be supportive of their children as the children learn. The parents can also learn these skills and be support what they're doing and help them. And I'd like to know how we can get your book. I came late, so I didn't see the information that if it was shared in the beginning. I didn't get to see that. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Firstly, thank you so much again. Thank you for contributing, first of all, and for your lovely comments. I agree with you that the parents are also looking for ways that they can support their children and indeed themselves, because parenting isn't easy. So to get the book at the moment, where are you? Are you in the States?
Yes.
You are in the States. So I know Barnes and Noble are selling the book online and hopefully in stores. I don't know if you have a Barnes and Noble near you. I'm not really great with American bookstores, but
I can check.
Yeah,
it won't be hard.
You can certainly buy it online at Barnes and Noble, and I can send you a link to that if you like.
Yes.
Put a link somewhere. It also is available on Amazon, and I know not everybody enjoys feeding Amazon with more money, but it is available on Amazon worldwide as well. Hopefully it'll be picked up by some other bookstores. I did publish the book independently, so it's still in the process of me trying to push it out further and further. So, but I'll send you some links.
Oh, thank you. I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Any more questions? No. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, I think I've said everything. I really hope so, because I've been kind of like nervously talking and like trying to say as many things as I can and make the content still interesting at the same time. So hopefully I've said everything. But otherwise you can absolutely get the book, and I hope that there's enough information in it for you guys to go and share it with your people, your clients, or you know, whoever it is that you want to share these lovely exercises with. So
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Kamiko.
Ah, great presentation. I love it. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
Here's Natalie's information. And please get in touch with her and get books and share with your friends and family, with your children, with teachers, and everywhere. Hopefully, everybody can stretch together.
Yay.
Thank you. Okay, so everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy stretching, and let's be strong and happy and healthy. Have a great holiday season and see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kumiko, for
Thank
keeping
you.
organizing this.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
It's my pleasure. Natalie is so wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
You too.